Skinny Hardaway Southern T, back with another EP. Y'all do your boy a favor, y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Smash that like button now. If this your first time, do your boy solid. Don't make it your last time. Hit that subscription button for your boy as well. Go on and hit that subscription button now. Go on and subscribe because we talk this good boxing, MMA, sports, parlays, predictions every single day, not just today. Today, I got a short video for y'all, man. I just want to talk about the state of boxing and where it's at, where it's been, and where I think that it's going. I think I ain't gonna say I think right. I know this. If you take a study, if you go and you rank top 10 sports in America, right? Boxing is not going to be in the top 10. If you go and you ask top, sports in America, you will see that boxing is ranked number 17. In comparison to over in the UK, right, where boxing is ranked number 7. Boxing was ranked number 9 in UK last year. It's number 7 this year. Boxing in America was ranked in the top 15 last year, and that was outside of the top 15 this year. And I think that's directly correlated to what's going on in American boxing right now. And I'll explain. Now, I just mentioned that I just mentioned that boxing is ranked number 17 in America now, and it was 15 last year. The fact that it was 15 last year is still down from what boxing normally would be. Boxing used to be one of the top 5 sports in America. In its heyday, boxing was actually the 3rd sport in America. Now, we are far, far removed from the Mike Tyson days and boxing being a top 5, but boxing has always held a place in the top 10, right? As of late, right, after Floyd Mayweather, not directly, right, boxing found its way, in the top 15. But now at this point, boxing has found itself outside of the top 15 for the first time in a long time. And I think it's a direct correlation between the stars at the top of the boxing game. Now, people love to say that Tank Davis is the biggest face in boxing. He's the face of boxing, right? Well, I think because Tank Davis is the face of boxing, he's one of the biggest stars in boxing. That's why boxing has taken a hit. Now, I'm not going to put this all on Gervonta Tank Davis. There is another guy, Canelo Alvarez, who you will see a little later in this EP. He also plays a big part in the reason why boxing has taken a dip. I think boxing has taken a huge dip because the stars at the top of the sport aren't making the best fights. They aren't making the mega fights. They aren't making the biggest fights. They're not giving the fans the fight that we want. They're giving fans fights that they have to accept because we have no choice, because we don't make the fights. The boxers do. The sport is taking the hit because the sport has gotten uninterested because we don't really necessarily... We want to see Gervonta Tank Davis fight. We want to see Canelo Alvarez fight. Right, but we don't want to see Gervonta Tank Davis fight somebody that we never heard of. Or we don't want to see Gervonta Tank Davis fight somebody who's only popular in one region. We don't want Canelo Alvarez to fight a fighter that we never heard of. We don't want Canelo Alvarez to fight a fighter who's only popular in one region or his region, right? We want mega stars to make mega fights. What do you mean, Southern T? Well, I tell you this. Devin Haney last year had one of the best runs in boxing that you could have. Now, we took a little hit, you know what I mean, with the Ryan Garcia and the cheating and the steroids and whatnot, right? But if I truly believe that if Gervonta Tank Davis, who's considered the biggest, one of the biggest fighters in the sport, if he had done, him and Canelo Alvarez, right? But this situation in particular, if he had done a better job at, seeking out fighters when they're their hottest, that's what Floyd Mayweather would do. He would let a fighter get to their hottest point, and then Floyd Mayweather will go fight them. And that's how you keep, yourself in boxing at the top of the sports world. You make the mega fights and the big fights that people want to see. Gervonta Tank Davis didn't necessarily do that, right? Boxers, when they get their hottest, boxing succeeds when the big stars fights other big stars. You actually fight those guys and you make them stars, as well. A lot like Floyd Mayweather did with, let's say, Canelo Alvarez. We go segue that into Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, for some time right now, Canelo's a little different from Tank. Canelo actually has proven a lot in the sport already, right? Up until this point, Tank Davis, I feel like, was kind of handed the game from Floyd Mayweather, didn't really earn it, right? So he's got it. So I'm not really shocked at his mishandling of the game. But Canelo, he actually is from, that old school, type of boxing. I'm a little surprised that, since he has been, giving the game, since he has been in that top spot, one of the top spot, he's kind of tapered off, his mega fights and his big fights, because early on, Canelo Alvarez actually did make a lot of big fights. Where Canelo Alvarez has let the game down, he sold the game. Where Canelo Alvarez has let the game down, he sold the game short, is David Benavidez. David Benavidez is a star in boxing right now. Fan favorite guy. Has a lot of, fan pool, a lot of eyes on him. Canelo Alvarez, David Benavidez is a fight that, the people want to see. That will be one of the best fights in boxing today. You got Gervonta Tank Davis versus Devin Haney. You got Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez. These fights seem like, so much because they haven't happened yet, when actually they should just seem like another piece to the puzzle, right? We got to get the guys at the top of the sport to do the right thing, to fight the fighters that they're supposed to fight, to make these mega fights, or the sport is going to continue to be number 17 in America. You see that box down there, it says number 7. That's because boxing is number 7 in the UK. Boxing is a lot bigger in the UK than it is in America right now. And you wonder why all these people are going over to Saudi Arabia and going over to the UK to make these fights. That's because whether you want to believe it or not, over there in the UK, the stars fight the stars. Everybody pretty much fights everybody over there. Now, while, the American scene is where the money is at, or at least it was where the money is at historically, right? But now you got the Saudi Arabia guys coming in, and they're pretty much passing their money around for the people that want to make, who want to make it. But you got to be willing to fight the best of the best to get that bread, right? I think the sport is hurting right now, and it's a direct correlation between the two fighters at the top of the sport. Are one of these fighters your favorite fighter? Gervonta Tank Davis, Canelo Alvarez. The game and the sport is down because the fighters at the top of the game now aren't doing what they're supposed to do. The game was up when Errol Spence was at the top. The game was up when Deontay Wilder was at the top, because those guys make the big fights against the other mega fighters, right? Boxing has become more so a business, and I think that has largely to do with Canelo Alvarez, and I think Gervonta Tank Davis has picked up the same mold, and he's carried it on. Canelo Alvarez actually did, I feel like, earn his right to, skip a fight or two, right? But at this point, Canelo Alvarez hasn't given us a fight we wanted in years on years at this point. You know what I mean? So I think the sport of boxing is down because the fighters at the top of the game aren't handling the game the way that it should be handled. But that's all I got for y'all. Skin the Hardaway TWTea. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but this the present. That's how we rocking, and I'm out. Love.